Welcome to my talk on behaviour. What behaviour? You'll be familiar with schools having a behaviour policy, but that's not my focus for today. When we talk of behaviour, we are probably more likely to think of behaviour in terms of challenging behaviour or as non-compliance, pupils challenging the teacher, school rules and the like. But that's not always the case. Pupils don't always have the confidence or language to express their needs in terms of words, but instead in terms of behaviour, as my first slide will show. In my talk, I want to focus on seeing behaviour as a symptom of need, specifically learning needs. So this means interpreting the behaviour and linking it to a learning need, and then responding accordingly to meet that need through your teaching and planning. Don't worry about more work though. We just have to be mindful of learning needs to make this happen. Let's get started. This slide shows more the norm in terms of what we think of when we say a pupil is behaving badly or misbehaving. The messages we can take from this slide are: we're often drawn to recognise and react to non-compliant pupil behaviours, what I would term social behaviours. This is understandable, but often distracting in time and time-consuming. Pupil behaviour is often suppressed and not always interpreted in such circumstances, but there's always a backstory as to why pupils behave in a certain way, and we just have to understand them. But what of learning behaviours? Is there such a thing? If there is, do we actually recognise them? And if we do, how do we react to them in our teaching? This is Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. You may have come across it several times in your teacher training. We will recognise how people often behave when they meet family or friends, especially after a long absence. Our behaviour is based on our needs, and for pupils that can be at the point in time specifically that they arise, unlike adults who can often moderate their behaviour and wait to satisfy a need. We recognise behaviours associated with physiological and safety needs too. A few were mentioned in the first slide. For example, being defiant and being disruptive. But what I have discovered as a teacher is that there is a set of learning needs too. Those that are expressed when we are required to engage in the process of learning, the actual activity of learning. My next slide shows 4 learning needs. Now the 4 learning needs I mentioned sit above the basic needs. So I've modified Maslow's pyramid here to show where they sit. I call this the learning zone, and there are 4 recognisable needs within this zone. My next slide will demonstrate. Now the 4 needs that I have discovered are these: power, having a voice, being heard, being acknowledged; belonging, being recognised, having a membership of a group and an identity within it; choice, not free choice, but choice with consequences, and this helps build and create a sense of responsibility; fun, not always laugh out loud, rolling around the floor telling jokes, but one of the key challenges in teaching is linking achievement to fun. Otherwise, pupils will always refer to learning as work. In the short time I have, let's quickly look at a few examples of behaviours associated with these needs. First, when the 4 needs are satisfied and the pupil has a sense of power, belonging, choice and fun. I'm not going to speak over the slides. I'm going to give you time to consider the behaviour descriptions and see if they fit in with any of your own experience. Did you recognise any of those behaviours, and would you associate them with learning needs? We expect these type of behaviours as the norm in our teaching. Often they go unrewarded or unacknowledged. They're signs that you are meeting the learning needs. So now for behaviours when those needs are not being met. And again, I won't talk over the slides.
Don't know the power of the dark side. Don't let it destroy you.
So once again, did you recognise the behaviours and would you associate them with learning needs? They were more from the dark side of teaching, perhaps. If we are mindful in our interactions and in our relationships with pupils, we are more likely to identify the symptoms of a need in one or more of the areas. When we do, we can plan to meet those needs. The good thing is that it requires little effort to meet the needs, much less than dealing with the behaviours when those needs are not being met. If you want to explore PBCF and how to build effective learning relationships and also deal with many of the challenges teachers face, then I've written this for you. If you can't reach them, you can't teach them, building effective learning relationships. It's a learning journal containing 50 plus reflective tasks as well as guides and is supported with online resources. So remember, PBCF, please be child friendly in your relationships, in your teaching and in your planning. And oh, by the way, it works with colleagues too. So thank you for listening, and please be colleague friendly and help meet their learning and engagements too. Oh, the hat, COVID-19 haircut. Can't let you see that. Looks like a mad professor. Bye for now.